So, Hare Krishna, everybody. Thank you for coming on a weekday again on Tuesday. Some of you have been coming for the last 4 days, which is amazing. And I'm sure you will certainly receive the blessings of the Lord and His devotees. So, until yesterday, we were discussing, we discussed the meeting of Hanuman and Sita. So we discussed how Hanuman and Sita met and the conversation that took place in between both of them. And before that, we discussed the meeting of Ravana and Sita. And we discussed the meaning of the verse Trinamantarata Kritva Prati Uvacha Suchishmita, which means that Sita plucked a blade of grass and then she put it in between her and Ravana, and then she spoke to that blade of grass. So, and the way she spoke was, she smiled as she was speaking to that blade of grass. So the commentators, as we discussed previously, have given at least 40 different reasons for why she must have done that, but we discussed at least 10 of them. If you can remember even 2 of them, that's great. Because in Kali Yuga, unfortunately, our memories are not very good. So if you remember more, that's even amazing. So then what we discussed is, we were discussing how Sita wanted to check whether or not Hanuman was a genuine messenger of the Lord. So she asked him some questions. Does anyone remember what was the first question she asked him? Yes?
What does Ram's eyes look like?
Yeah, very good. What do Ram's eyes look like? What does his face look like? What do his arms look like? Etc. So Hanuman gave very apt analogies for that, if you remember. Yes, very good. And then essentially after that we discussed how Hanuman eventually, she asks about the welfare of Ramanujam, Lakshmanam Puvajam cha, which means first she asked the welfare of Lakshman and then she asked the welfare of Rama. Then we discussed the reason why she asked the welfare of Lakshman first also. So all of these were discussed yesterday. So then we left the Katha yesterday at the place where Hanuman brings out a ring. And what was written on the ring? Yeah, Rama Nama Ankitam, which means that the ring had Rama's name. Now that's a bit weird, because why would Rama wear a ring which has his own name? And the bigger question is that when Rama was leaving Ayodhya, at that time Kekai said that you have to deposit all your jewelry. I would like everything that you have taken from the treasury of Ayodhya, you have to keep it back, because all of that needs to be enjoyed by Bharata. So you cannot take anything. So when that was said, at that time Rama took out all of his jewelry, but somehow he kept the ring. Now the question may be asked, was Ram trying to sneak the ring? Did he know what was going to happen? Or was there a dharmic reason behind this? So the answer is that there is a dharmic reason behind it. So look at the words of Kekai. What did Kekai say? So Kekai said that you have to deposit all of the jewelry which belongs to Ayodhya in the treasury back there. The ring, if we look at the history of the ring, where does the ring come from? The ring was actually given by Janaka. So as it's described in the wedding, like the man gives the woman a Mangal Sutra. Like that, the woman or her father gave Rama the ring. So if you get the invoice for the ring, it will say it was made in Mithila Junction Road. It was not made in Koshala Junction Road. So essentially like that it was. So that was the reason why Rama was able to take the ring, because it actually belonged to Mithila. So that is why he was allowed to take that ring. That's what the commentators say. So then when Sita saw that, she became very, very excited. It's described that Vidhitva Prekshamanana Bhartu Kara Vibhushitam, which means that as soon as she saw the ring, which was adorned by her own husband, which was adorned by Rama, she became so excited that she hugged the ring as if it were Lord Ram himself. She became very, very enthusiastic, and then she had tears flowing from her eyes. Now why was she so enthusiastic when she saw the ring given by Hanuman? Some people say that it's because Sita thought that, like my father, Janaka, he gave 2 things to Rama. He gave Sita and he gave me. He gave Sita and he gave this ring. So Rama could not even protect me, but at least he has protected the ring. So some people say that. I mean, that's a weird and funny reason. But the real reason why Sita was essentially smiling, or why she was crying when she saw the ring, was because there is a story associated with this ring also, actually. So in the commentary it is explained that once upon a time when Rama and Sita were in the forest, at that time, one day they were playing some dice. They were playing a game of dice. So, I mean, if you're living in the forest, what will you do for like 24 hours? You have to do something. So they were playing a game of dice, like nowadays we play Uno cards, like that they were playing dice. And what was happening was Sita was winning. And at that time Rama was not winning. So Rama, he's not had a habit to lose. He's never lost any time in his life. So he was becoming very restless. And because he was becoming restless, he accidentally dropped the game of dice down. And because of that, when Sita went to lift it up, the tilaka on her head got erased. So Sita became very annoyed because she was just about to win the game. So she decided not to speak to Rama for some time. So I mean, this happened even back in the day. You can't say that it didn't happen in Ramayana times. But you know, wife not speaking to husband, that happened even, it happened even with Rama and Sita. So they were not speaking to each other. In the meanwhile, you know, Lakshmana is doing all the work. Lakshmana is going to the forest, he's cutting the wood, he's getting the food, he's making the food, he's doing the dishes, everything. And then one day when Lakshmana did the cooking, he went and told Sita, oh, I've done the cooking, please call Rama and please have the food. She said, no, I'm not going, go call him yourself. So then Lakshmana is like, oh my God, they've started to fight again. So then he goes to Rama and then he says, Rama, the food is ready, can you please call Sita? Even Lakshmana was having fun also. And then Rama said, no, you go and call her, go and call your mother for food, etc. like that. So they had this fight and they were not speaking for 3 days to each other. So then it's described that Rama became very restless because Sita is not speaking to him and he wants to speak to Sita, but he doesn't want to initiate the conversation. So I mean, you can see this is all like going, even back in the day it was like that. So he wanted to speak but he didn't want to initiate the conversation. So what he does is he goes to the river Godavari, and at the bank of Godavari he takes his ring and he puts it down there. He buries it in a little bit of sand. And then he starts exclaiming, oh, I went for a bath in the river and then suddenly my ring just fell off. I can't find my ring. So when Sita heard that, she immediately came running because that property was of her father. So she came running and then she started looking for the ring and then eventually she found the ring and then she took that very excited back to Rama and then she said, oh look, I found this ring. And then Rama and Sita, they started speaking to each other. So when Sita saw this ring, she was reminded of this incident. And then she thought that, you know, back in the day when Rama and I were separated by not speaking to each other for 3 days, this ring brought us together. So she says now when Rama and I are separated again for a time span of around 10 months, this ring is going to bring us together again. So that is why this memory was brought back to Sita when she saw the ring. So then at that point, as Hanuman is seeing this, he offers to Sita, he says that, you know, I can take you back to Bharata Desha. And I've flown all the way here, so you can just sit on my back, and then if you sit on my back, I'll take you back to India. So then at that time, Sita, she looks at him funnily, and she says, how will you take me back? You're so small, because he had assumed the form of a cat, remember? So she was like, you're in the form of a cat, you're so small, how will you take me back? And then he says, no. He says, by saying that, you're insulting me. So Hanuman felt insulted. He said, I can take a huge form as well. I've just taken this small form so that I won't scare you. So I can take a huge form. So then Sita says, well, even if you take a huge form, if you take me on your back, then the Rakshasas will try to come and fight with you. And then if they come and fight with you, you're going to have to put me down, or the Rakshasas will hurt you. You can't do two things at the same time. Like you can't take me and also fight with the Rakshasas at the same time. So she said that it's better that you don't take me. So then he says that, no, you haven't seen my expertise. I can fight very well. I mean, Hanuman has no track record of fighting. But he was confident in his abilities. He thought that, yeah, I can do it. Then at that point, Sita says, no. She says, I was brought here against my will by a man, Ravana. So she says that now, when it is in my control, she says, I will not touch another man to go back. So then Hanuman closes his ears and he's like, oh Mata, he's like, why are you saying that? He's like, haven't you traveled in India? He says, in India, generally the children will drive their scooter and then the mother will generally sit at the back. So he said that, what's the problem? If, you know, I'm like a child and you're the mother. So if I take you on a scooter ride, if I take you on a ride, what's the difficulty in that? So then Sita says, she says that no. Actually, she says, if you save me, then what is the point of the mountain-like arms of Rama? She says, Rama needs to prove himself. This Ravana, he stole me from Rama. And she says that if you take me back, then what's the point of Rama's valor? The whole world will think that you saved me. And Rama, the glory will not go to Rama. So she says, I want all of this glory to go to Rama. So let him come here and save me. Otherwise, what's the point? Then she also says that, okay, let's say that even if you take me, there is one big flaw with that. And the flaw is that even if you save me, there are at least hundreds of other women who have been captured by Ravana also. And they all also need to be saved. Who will save them? So then at that point, Hanuman understood that Sita has a much bigger plan of how she wants Rama to save her. So then at that point, Hanuman says, okay, I respect your thoughts and I respect your wishes. So he says that, okay, now you give me something that I can take back to Rama as a sign that I have met you. So you asked for a sign, so I gave you the ring. Now you give me something that I can take back. So what does Sita give Hanuman? Chudamani. Chudamani is like the hair clip or like ornament that you wear on the head. So some people say that she gave a ring, some people say, they say all kinds of things, but actually in Ramayana it is said that she gave her Chudamani from her head. So when she gave the Chudamani, then at that time she wasn't wearing that Chudamani. That Chudamani was wrapped in another cloth. So she took that cloth and she gave it to Hanuman. Now this is a very historic, this is a very, very big symbolic event of the Sundarakanda, which the Acharyas have commented on for at least 20 pages. Why? Because this essentially symbolizes the process of initiation or Diksha. So what happens during Diksha? During Diksha, the disciple, he surrenders himself to the Lord. So that surrender is signified by the Chudamani, because it's an ornament of the head. And then what did Ram do? What did Ram give? Ram gave his ring. The ring signifies the Supreme Lord giving his blessings. And who is the person who does the communication between the Supreme Lord and the Jivatma? That is done by the Guru. So the Guru takes the blessings of the Lord and gives it to the Jivatma, and then the Jivatma surrenders, and that surrender is taken by the Guru to the Supreme Lord. So that is why the acceptance of a Guru is very important. That is why the Acharyas point out that this Chudamani offering is also very, very symbolic of this process of initiation. So there are 5 processes in initiation. I won't bore you with them, but they are Tapa, Pundra, Nama, Tapa, and Mantra and Yaga. So the Tapa process means tapasya, performing austerities means to surrender, and that is signified by the Chudamani. And then when the Supreme Lord gives his blessings, that is known as Pundra. Pundra is like when you put the marks on your arms, yeah. So that is signified by the Supreme Lord giving his ring, essentially. So it's a very, very important aspect of spiritual life, this Diksha or this initiation, for those of you who do not know. So then Hanuman says that, okay, well, I will take this Chudamani with me, but you also need to tell me of one incident that only you and Rama know about. No one else should know about this event. So then at that point, Sita says that yes, there is one incident that not even Lakshmana knows about. So then she goes on to describe this event. She says that once upon a time, we were in the forest. Rama and I were in the forest. We went into the pond and we played for some time. And then when we came back, we were both tired. So Rama put his head on top of my lap and then he fell asleep. Now I was sitting, so Sita is saying this. So Sita is saying that I was sitting and then I put my head back against the tree. So we were sitting under the shade of a tree. She says at that time, what happened is there was one crow who was watching. This crow in Sanskrit is known as Kaka. So this Kaka was watching this whole event the whole time and it kept staring at Sita. Essentially this Kaka was the son of Indra, it's described. Now this Kaka had some lusty feelings in him and he also wanted to annoy Sita. Now where is this Kaka getting this from? He is getting it from his father, because his father is also exactly like that. Yeah, father also with Ahilya, he did the same thing. So similarly this Kaka also, he knows how to abuse women. So he goes and he sees Sita, and when he sees Sita, he goes and pecks on her chest and he takes away some of the flesh from Sita's chest. Now Sita, being a young girl who has been always raised in a kingdom and as a princess, she could not tolerate the pain and she withered in pain. Even though she didn't scream, she withered in pain. And as she withered in pain, Rama woke up because of the movement. So when Rama woke up, he was about to ask Sita what happened. But Rama, being a man of great intelligence, he doesn't speak unless it's absolutely necessary. So Rama looked at the chest of Sita and he saw that Sita withered because of some wound on her chest. So now he was trying to figure out what happened. So he looked around all the way, he looked down, and then he looked up. As he looked up, he saw that the crow was sitting on the tree, and there was blood pouring from the beak of this bird, crow. So Rama understood what had happened. He didn't need to ask the crow, "Hey crow, did you come and bite my Sita?" What did he ask Sita? "Oh Sita, are you sure this is the crow that bit you? Are you sure? Are you double sure?" No, none of that. Rama was a man of great intelligence. As soon as he saw what had happened, he understood. So then what he does is he picks up a blade of grass. Remember, we discussed this yesterday also, that Sita also plucked a blade of grass. So Rama plucked a blade of grass, and then he had this vidya known as Aishikam. Aishikam means where you can invoke a mantra into a little something like an astra, and then you can make it into a shastra. So he invoked the Brahmastra mantra into that little straw of grass, and then he fired it at that crow. Now this crow became very scared because he was not expecting a Brahmastra to come after him. So this crow started to run everywhere. So first he went to his own father. He went to Indra and he asked for protection. He said, "My father, please protect me. Father always protects his son, so you need to protect me also." So then at that time, what does Indra do? Does he give protection? No, Indra does not give protection. Because if Indra gives protection, then that Brahmastra will come after Indra. Especially if Rama has discharged a weapon, that cannot come back until it has fulfilled its purpose. So Indra became scared. He said, no, I can't give you protection. You may be my son, but I cannot give you protection because I can't face the wrath of the Brahmastra. Then he says that actually if I do give you protection also, he says I would be very, very ungrateful to Lakshmi. Why? Because he says it is only by the grace of Lakshmi that I received the Amaravati kingdom. So the demigods, they all live in Amaravati. So he says that because of her blessings I got the Amaravati. He says because of Lakshmi's blessings I got the Kamadhenu cow. Kamadhenu cow is a cow that can, you ask it anything and then it will give you whatever you want. And then he says that because of the blessings of Lakshmi, I was able to get the Chintamani jewel. Chintamani jewel is also the same thing. You touch the Chintamani jewel to some other, like if you touch the Chintamani jewel to iron, it becomes gold. So that is, he said that because of Lakshmi's blessings, we got all of this. And you are the one who offended Lakshmi. So he said, I can't give you protection. He said, the other reason why I can't give you protection is, even though Lakshmi gave us all of these things, due to our foolishness, he said, we lost it once, all, to Bali. Bali Maharaj. And then at that time, Lord Vishnu himself took birth as my elder brother, Vamana, and then he restored everything back to me. So he said, I'm already indebted to Lakshmi and I'm very indebted to Vishnu also. So he says, I can't give you protection. So then he goes to his mother, Shachi Devi, and then he asks her for protection. And then Shachi Devi outright refuses. She says that you have offended the mother of the whole universe. She is the one from whom we get our maternal instincts. So she said, because you have offended her, I cannot give you protection also. So then he goes to the crows. So this Kaka, although he was the son of a Devata, he also had association with the crows, with the birds, because he was also a bird. So he went to the other birds and he sought protection from them. And then the birds said no also. They said, we can't give you protection. Why? Because once upon a time, the Supreme Lord Vishnu, he took an incarnation of Hamsa. So the Hamsa avatar is described in Srimad Bhagavatam also. So he says he took the form of a swan and we are indebted to him because he gave us knowledge. They said that the Supreme Lord, Rama, he has given moksha to Jatayu. He has taken Jatayu to the spiritual world. So he says that if we offend Rama, then we are essentially being ungrateful to our own kind. Then they said that even if we do grant you protection, they said that who is Lord Vishnu's carrier? Garuda. Garuda is a massive eagle. They said that if we give protection to you, then Garuda will come after us. So they said that we can't give you protection either. So then he went to Lord Brahma because it's Lord Brahma's weapon. So he goes to Brahma and asks him for protection. Do you think Brahma will give him protection?
No.
But it's Brahmastra, right? Brahma can stop.
Sorry to disturb, Prabhu. There's a car which has number 162JA2. Whose car is this? Is that yours? Someone is waiting for you. He's from not the temple, so thank you.
Oh. Okay. Yeah, so where was I? Oh, Brahma, yeah, Brahma. So it's Brahma's weapon. Brahma could stop it if he wanted. But Brahma also says no. Why? Because it was upon Brahma's request that Lord Ram came into this material universe. Because all the demigods requested Brahma to stop the Dashagriva or Ravana and Kumbhakarna. So that's when Brahma said, I can't stop them, I've already given boons, so we have to ask Lord Vishnu. So he said it was because of my insistence that Lord Vishnu came. So he said, I can't grant him protection also. So then it is described, Trin lokan samparikramya tam evam sharanam gataha. So Lord Brahma advised him, he said that no one will give you protection. He says the only person that will give you protection is Rama. You have to go back and fall at his feet. So then after having gone through the three words, Trin lokan samparikramya tam evam sharanam gataha, he came and sought shelter at the feet of Rama. Now in the Puranas it is described that when the crow came, it actually came and stood on the toes of Rama. With his feet, he stood on the toes of Rama. That is not the proper way you seek Sharanagati. So it is described that at that time, Sita saw this crow trying to take Sharanagati or trying to take shelter at the feet of Rama. And she saw that this crow is not doing it properly. So what she did is she distracted Rama. She said, oh Rama, look, Lord Brahma, Indra, everyone has come to watch what you're going to do to this bird. So when Lord Rama looked up, she took the bird and then she put his beak on top of Rama's feet, just so that he could do the proper Sharanagati mudra. So then when he fell down and he was offering obeisances, then Sita said, see, this crow is falling at your lotus feet, so you need to give him protection. So then Rama spared his life. So this is an interesting event of Sharanagati, because if you compare Ravana and this crow, which one was worse? Ravana was worse in the sense that he kidnapped Sita, but he did not physically assault Sita. Whereas this crow, he actually physically assaulted Sita. But this crow's life was spared, but Ravana's life was not spared. Why? Surrender, yes. Why did he take surrender? Why did he seek shelter at the feet? Because Sita was there beside him. So because Sita was there beside Rama, that is why. So if you separate Rama and Sita, there is no chance that you will be given shelter. Like, that is actually one of the reasons why we also don't worship Laddu Gopal. And this is just a side discussion. Because in Laddu Gopal there is no Radha next to it. So what do people do? They bring Laddu Radha also. So that's an interesting thing. But there is no concept of Laddu Radha in the scriptures. There is no deity of Laddu Radha, etc. So you always have to keep Radha and Krishna together. If you keep Radha and Krishna, Ram and Sita together, then there is chance that you may get saved. If you separate them, then you won't be granted Sharanagati. And in fact, it can be very, very disastrous for anyone. So, after this was said, the Acharyas say that Rama gave shelter to this crow because he had also exhausted all his opportunities. Like all his other shelters, he has exhausted. So, Akinchanatvam. Remember we discussed Akinchanatvam, which means that he will only take shelter of the Lord. So, why was that? Because if you say that, like today I will take shelter of Krishna, if Krishna does not fulfill my promise, okay, that's fine, I'll go to Devi. If Devi does not fulfill my promise, that's fine, I'll go to Shiva. If we think like that, then Sharanagati, it's not Akinchanatvam. It's not falling at the feet of the Lord helplessly. So only when we fall at the feet of the Lord helplessly, without any other shelter, without any other protection, then the Lord will give us protection. So because he had that quality, he was given protection. Now interestingly enough, if you see what happens, it is described that Baddharam, so the way Valmiki describes this event, it's quite interesting actually. He describes Rama in a particular way. He says, Baddharam api kakutstha kripaya paripalayat, which means that the personality known as Kakutstha, he gave protection to this crow. Now why did Valmiki call Rama Kakutstha? This is another great mystery which is solved by the Acharyas. What does Kakutstha mean essentially? We don't know what it means, right? And why did Valmiki call Rama Kakutstha here? So in the qualities of Rama, in the first 3 or 4 verses of Valmiki Ramayana, the qualities of Rama are described. Konavasmi Sampratam Loke Gunavan means one who has all the good qualities. Kashya Viryavan. Viryavan means one who is very powerful. Dharmagnya, who follows dharma very nicely. And fourth quality is Kritagnya. What is Kritagnya? Kritagnya means very grateful towards. Who is the person who is most grateful? So now this is what the Acharyas linked to why Rama is known as Kakutstha. Baddharam api Kakutstha. So once upon a time, there is a story behind this actually. So once upon a time, one of Rama's ancestors, whose name was Puranjaya, this story is there in Srimad Bhagavatam actually. So if you read Bhagavad Purana, it's there. So once upon a time, this Puranjaya was invited by Indra and the demigods because they were fighting with the demons. And this fight could only be won by Puranjaya. So they invited Puranjaya to fight. So as Puranjaya was fighting with the demons broke his chariot. When his chariot was broken, he has nowhere to stand and fight. Where will he put his arrows? Where will he put his other weapons? So it's described that at that time, Indra took the form of a bull. Indra became a bull, and the hump of a bull, so you know, like bulls have a huge hump, that is known as Kaku. So this Puranjaya, he stood on top of that Kaku, and then he fought the demons and he won the battle. So that is why that demon became, ancestor of Rama became known as Kakutstha. Kakutstha means one who stands on top of the bull and he fights. The descendant of that person, or the descendant of Kakutstha, is known as Kakutstha. Just like Vasudeva and Vasudev's son is known as Vasudev. Like that, Kakutstha's descendant became Kakutstha. So why did Valmiki call Rama Kakutstha here? It's because when Rama saw this crow in front of him, he understood that this crow is the son of Indra. He remembered that back in the day, Indra had assisted my ancestors also. He had assisted my ancestor by becoming a bull, so that my ancestor could fight from on top of a bull. So remembering that, Rama forgave this crow. He did not kill this crow. So that is why Rama is known as Kakutstha here. So see, this is the beauty of Valmiki Ramayana. In Valmiki Ramayana, every word is very important. Every name that the Lord is being called by is very important. So then, Rama forgave him, but he still had to pay a price because he had to learn a lesson. If he doesn't learn a lesson, then he's probably going to do the same thing again. So then at that time it's described that Rama fired that Brahmastra and took one of his eye. So that is why that crow was left with one eye. So then that crow was still very happy that my life is spared. He offered his obeisances to Rama and then he left. So then after that, when this incident is described by Sita, Hanuman becomes pleased. He says, okay, that's fine. I will convey this incident. Sita says, that's fine, you convey one more incident. There's one more incident she says, I want you to convey to Rama. She says that once upon a time, Rama and I were sitting on a rock near the lake in, what's that place? Panchavati. And at that time, we were playing with each other and Rama had applied a tilaka on my head. And because I got angry with Rama, I erased that tilaka from my head also. And then we essentially started fighting again. So she said that remind Rama of this also. So she told Hanuman these two incidents. And then Hanuman said, okay, that's fine. Now I will go and convey this message to Rama. But as he's going, he looks at the Rakshasis. And he says that, these Rakshasis have been tormenting Sita for a long time. So he says, I also want to mess with these people. And I want to see Ravana. I want to see what Ravana looks like. So then at that time, he decides to essentially go in the Ashoka one and in the Ashoka Vatika. And he starts to pluck out all the trees. He takes a huge form. He becomes very large and then he starts to pluck out all the trees. So that as he's doing that, the Rakshasis, they become very scared. And then they run to Sita and they ask him, who is this person? This person was speaking to you for a very long time. We don't know who he is. And then look at him, he's acting like a demon. So who is this person? So Sita says, yeah, he is very much acting like a demon. You are also demons, you should know. She says, only a snake will know what a snake looks like. So he must, so she was like, yeah, you must know what he's like. I don't know anything about this person. Now it's interesting to note that Sita lied here. Straight up, like, what do we call it? Like red-handed, no, what is it called? Like completely, when you lie completely in front of someone's face.
White lie.
White.
No, yeah, white lie you can say. So it was a white lie because she wanted to protect Hanuman. She didn't want to reveal the identity of Hanuman. So then when Hanuman was plucking out all the trees, the group of Rakshasis, they went and reported to Ravana. Now when Ravana heard about this, he became very angry. And he said, how dare someone destroy my Ashok Vatika? Because that Ashok Vatika was very dear to Ravana. So he says that he decides to send 80,000 demons to fight with this monkey. Now it's interesting because it's just a monkey and he eats monkeys every day. But he still sent 80,000 demons because no one would ever dare to step foot in Lanka and especially uproot a tree. He knew that this had to be the work of some celestial person. It would not be an ordinary person. No ordinary person would dare to do that. So that's why he sent 80,000 demons to go and stop Hanuman. So then as they were trying to stop him, Hanuman was just growing in size. And as he grew in size, he was smacking his tail everywhere and just destroying all of the demons left, right and center. So then Ravana gets angry. And then he summons Prahasta. Prahasta is one of his senior ministers and also one of his uncles. He summons him and says, bring your son. His son's name was Jambamali. He says, send Jambamali into the Ashok One and stop Hanuman. So then Jambamali goes, he is riding on a chariot and that chariot is driven by what? Any guesses? That chariot is being driven by donkeys. So Ravana is sending the weakest one first and then he'll send the stronger ones later. So he sent Jambamali first. So Jambamali goes and then Jambamali challenges Hanuman. He says, hey, how dare you monkey destroy our Ashoka Vatika, etc. And then he takes his bow and fires some arrows. Hanuman is like, oh my god, like Ravana really needs to raise his standards. Whom is he sending? Sending Jambamali. He just takes one iron rod that was lying there and he smacks him in the chest completely. And that pretty much described that all his body organs became indistinguishable. They all became like halwa. So Hanuman essentially, when he did that, Ravana got so much more furious. He summoned 5 more of his generals. He said, go and stop this, Hanuman. So then the 5 generals come, they fire arrows at Hanuman. And as Hanuman is seeing so many arrows coming, he takes a huge form, large form, and then he jumps out and then escapes those arrows. And then as he escapes those arrows, he thinks, well, how should I kill them? There's no equipment around me. So he makes his size even larger and then he just falls on all of them. And in that way he crushes all of the 5 generals of Ravana. Then Ravana becomes even more angry and then he sends 7 of his other great generals to go and stop him. This included Nikumbha, Yuyuksha. He sent like all these great people there. So now these people came and they surrounded Hanuman. Like like in movies also they show like heroes standing in the middle and then like all the villains are standing around him. And then they have like beer bottle in their hand, they have cycle chain in their hand, and one of them has brings out scissors, etc. like that. So like that, essentially same thing was happening. So like they had all of these weapons and they had surrounded Hanuman. Now Hanuman got very angry now this time. So this time Hanuman was trying to uproot another tree. And as he was uprooting the tree, they fired more arrows and then they destroyed that tree. So Hanuman became even more angry. Hanuman jumped in the sky. So these people also tried to follow him. But they were not that skilled. They could not follow him. So then Hanuman, when he jumped into the sky, he essentially like swooped down and with his nails, he tore open the chests of all of the Rakshasas. He destroyed all of them and created a decimated scene on the battlefield there. Just destroyed them completely. So then at that time, Ravana becomes a bit angry and he becomes scared. And one of Ravana's son, who's sitting there, what was his name? Aksha, that's right. So Aksha was sitting there. Meghanad is there, he'll come later. So Aksha was sitting there. That's why we recited this mantra today. You'll see what was the significance of that mantra. So this Aksha was quite young and he was a bit immature. So he also wanted to, he must have recently just learned archery. So he wanted to like try it out. So he said, yeah, I'll go in battle. So Ravana said, yes, you go. Great. So then at that point Aksha goes into the battle and then Aksha, he knows some magic tricks also. So he took his chariot which had 8 horses and he was flying in the sky. So he flew and he came towards Hanuman. So as he came and flew, he was discharging arrows at Hanuman. Now Hanuman also started to fly. Now as Hanuman was flying, he threw those arrows at Hanuman. And even though Hanuman was trying to dodge, 3 of the arrows came and hit Hanuman's head. But Hanuman obviously, he was bleeding, but he appreciated. He said, yes, this guy is actually quite strong. So mentally he said that, yes, I have to pay respects to this guy. But he said that he is still a fool. He is very immature and he doesn't know how to fight properly. He said his position is exactly like an elephant who's walking towards a well which is covered with grass. What happens if the elephant walks? He'll fall inside. So he said this guy is just like that. He thinks he's so powerful and he thinks he can destroy everything, but he's walking towards his death. So then as Hanuman is trying to dodge all of those arrows again, he fires more arrows, and this time he pierces Hanuman's chest. So 7 arrows hit Hanuman's chest. Hanuman becomes even more angry. He says that it is time to stop, put an end to this. He said, I could enjoy the rasa of fighting, but he says that if I keep fighting, he'll grow more and more strong because he'll learn more new tricks, etc. So he said it's important to put out a fire before it becomes big. So before the fire starts spreading, it's important to control it. Like even forest fires, same thing. They bring the fire department and then they control the fire. So like that same thing Hanuman was also doing. So then Hanuman said, okay, that's fine. So he literally, as he was flying, he stopped. And then he, with his huge hand, he smacked the horses of Aksha, which basically meant that the whole chariot went crashing down. So as the chariot went crashing down, Aksha came, he took out his sword and his shield and he jumped and leaped towards Hanuman while Hanuman is still in the air. Hanuman thought that's enough. So Hanuman went straight for Aksha's legs and then he rotated him at least 1,000 times, it's described, and then he smashed him on the ground completely, shattering his head. So then he essentially just vomited some blood and then he died also. So that is why in the mantra we recited, we said, Anjana Nandanam Veeram, Janaki Shoka Nashanam, Kapisham Aksha Hantaram, which means that he is the one who destroyed or who killed Aksha also. So Kapisham Aksha Hantaram, Vande Lanka Bhayankaram, which means one who terrorized Lanka. That is Hanuman. So just because he was a devotee of the Lord doesn't mean he will tolerate all kinds of offenses at the feet of the Lord. So people have this misconception that devotees should not be aggressive. But Srila Prabhupada would always say that, he would always quote the example of Hanuman. He would say you should look at how Hanuman terrorized the demons. You should see how the Pandavas, Bhima, Arjuna, they terrorized the demons. So when it comes to protecting dharma, then it is important to be aggressive. Obviously not physically nowadays, but at least in our philosophy we should be very, very convinced and we should be able to protect our own philosophy at least from other people who may raise questions on it. So then after having done that, then Ravana becomes a bit worried. And then he summons Indrajit or Meghana. His name was Indrajit because he had, when there was a war between Ravana and the demigods, Ravana had lost. But Indrajit goes and he captures Indra and he brings him as a slave. So that is why Indrajit was very, very powerful. So Indrajit comes and he also has a battle with Hanuman. And as he's firing arrows, Hanuman is able to deflect all of them. Then Hanuman is throwing things at him, he's destroying all of them. So Indrajit understood that this is no ordinary monkey. He said the only way to stop this monkey is if I summon the Brahmastra and I have to fire a Brahmastra at him. So he summons the Brahmastra and he fires the Brahmastra at Hanuman. So this Brahmastra goes and it binds Hanuman. Now what was the benediction that Hanuman had? If you go back to the very first session, we described one benediction that Hanuman had.
Brahmastra not act on Hanuman.
Yeah, that the Brahmastra will not work on Hanuman. So essentially when Hanuman was tied by the Brahmastra, he knew that he could break open the Brahmastra. And the Brahmastra knew that also. So the Brahmastra did not tie him very tight. Brahmastra tied him very loose. Like there was a thin thread of Brahmastra. Hanuman could have broken it, but Hanuman did not break it either because he wanted to respect Lord Brahma's weapon. And he thought that if I am captured by Indrajit, at least I will get to see Ravana face to face. Otherwise, how will I see Ravana? So he says, okay, that's fine, I'll get captured. So he started screaming in pain, oh, I've been captured, oh Indrajit, you're so great, etc., etc. Then Indrajit becomes very happy and he becomes excited that yes, I've caught Hanuman. So then when Hanuman is caught, all the soldiers they come and the Rakshasis they come. They are like so excited. While he was fighting, they were not doing anything. They were all scared and they ran away. When Hanuman is caught, they come. Yeah, now we'll show him, we'll teach him a lesson. They come, they punch him and then they throw things at his head. He starts bleeding from his head. And then some of the soldiers they come and they tie a rope around Hanuman to essentially take him to the palace of Ravana. So as they were doing that, Indrajit notices one interesting thing. As the soldiers were tying the rope around him, the Brahmastra loosens and it goes away. Yeah, why is that? Because Brahmastra also has an ego. It says that if you don't have enough faith in me and if you don't trust me, then there is no point in me staying. So then he says that you're relying on the strength of these ropes that you've got from your well. And I am Brahmastra, I am the weapon of the creator of this universe. So he said that, well, in that case I'm going to get loose and then I'm going to go away. Indrajit saw this and he became very scared because he knew that Hanuman is acting. So Hanuman was saying, like, oh, I've been caught, I can't get out of here. Indrajit knew that. But at that time, as Indrajit was going to do, he was trying to invoke the Brahmastra once more. But it is a rule of the Brahmastra that it cannot be invoked again for the same person. If it has failed once, it does not come back for the same person. So Indrajit was essentially planning on which other next weapon to use. But while he was doing that, Ravana summoned Hanuman inside. He said, bring this Vanara inside. So then, when Hanuman is brought inside, what happens? Who speaks to Hanuman? Ravana? No. So who speaks to Ravana? No, Vibhishana does not speak also. Ravana asked Prahasta, one of his ministers, to speak. Because back in the day it was the custom that the king does not speak to a messenger directly. So a messenger will speak, or minister will speak to the messenger. It was considered a formality. Similarly, like for example, when Hanuman met Rama for the very first time, Rama spoke to Lakshmana and then Lakshmana spoke to Rama. Lakshmana spoke to Hanuman. So the communication happened through that. Hanuman did not speak to Rama directly, or Rama did not speak to Hanuman directly. So similarly, same thing. Ravana does not speak to Hanuman directly. He asks Prahasta to speak. So Prahasta asks him, what is your function? Why did you come here? Why did you kill so many of our people? So then Hanuman says, well, I came here on a purpose. I had to speak to Sita. So I came for that. Well, I was feeling hungry, so I decided to eat something. And because I was eating, your people came to kill me. And what could I do? I acted in self-defense. I didn't have any intention of going and killing these people. Your people came to kill me first, so I acted in self-defense. So then Ravana gets extremely angry because his son also died at that time. And then he says, who are you and why have you come here? Tell us. So then Hanuman also gets angry. And then he says that I am sent by Rama. Rama is the Chakravarti Samrat of the whole universe, he says. He is the ruler of the entire earth. And he said that Rama is a person who single-handedly killed 14,000 of your cousins. Khara, Dushana, Trishiras, etc. He says Rama is also the person who befriended Sugriva and killed Vali with one arrow. Why did Hanuman mention that? Hanuman mentioned that because previously Ravana had also challenged Vali. Yeah, Ravana had also challenged Vali once while Vali was doing Sandhya Vandana. At that time, Ravana approached him from the back because he wanted to kill him. But Vali saw him from the corner of his eye, and then with his tail, he caught Ravana, and then he flew 3 times around the earth, and then came back. So then Ravana understood that he has no chance of fighting against Vali. So then he offers he strikes a deal with Vali, and he says that, like my kingdom will never attack yours, but you also promise that your kingdom will never attack mine. So Vali says, yeah, sure, we have this pact, and they agreed on this pact. That was also one of the other reasons why Rama had to kill Vali. Because Vali was sent, who is Vali? Does anyone remember? He was the son of who? Huh? No, not Surya. Huh?
Sugriva's brother.
No, it was Sugriva's elder brother, but which demigod's incarnation is he?
Indra.
Indra. He is Indra's son. So he was actually sent for the purpose of assisting Lord Ram. But he had struck a deal with Ravana, saying that, I won't fight with you and you don't fight with me. So he had deviated from his purpose and he needed to be killed because he was acting as an obstruction to the mission of Ram. So that's why that was one of the other reasons why Vali was killed. Vali raises this argument also. He says, I don't have any animosity with you, why are you killing me? So then at that time, Rama gives a lot of reasons which we won't cover today. But anyways, Hanuman makes it a point to mention that Rama with one arrow he killed Vali, just to strike fear in his heart. He said that if Rama comes here, he will completely decimate your whole kingdom. He said, I am just a messenger. I am considered to be one of the smallest monkeys. The monkeys that are there in Rama's and Sugriva's army are much bigger than me and much stronger than me. So he says that if they come here, you have no chance of surviving. So then it's described that at that time Ravana had a little bit of fear in his mind. But he was also very angry. Like people were reminding him that he lost his son. So then he gets very angry and he says, kill this monkey. So then at that time Vibhishana comes. So Vibhishana comes and he says that actually according to the Dharma Shastras, you're not allowed to kill a messenger. Ravana becomes angry and he says, no, this person has committed all kinds of sins against my people, so he deserves to die, I can kill him. So then Vibhishana, he is also a man of great intelligence. So then he says that, well, if you kill this Vanara, then how will we convey our message back to Rama and Lakshmana, who are two arrogant princes? They're so arrogant that they've just sent this monkey here who doesn't know anything about rules and regulations, doesn't know anything about that. So he said that if we kill him, then we'll also have to send one messenger there. So why don't we just punish this messenger in such a way that when Rama sees the condition of his messenger, then he will become scared. So then Ravana thinks, yeah, my brother, Bhishana is very intelligent. He says, yes. He says, Kapinam api langunam. He says that monkeys are very much fond of their tail. So he says that what we should do is we should burn his tail and then we should send him back. So then he takes Hanuman out into the streets, and as he's taken out into the streets, all the soldiers, they bring all of their clothes. They must have had huge spotlight there also. So they all went to spotlight, they bought all of their clothes and they wrapped it around his tail, around his body, everything like that. And then after wrapping it up, they must have gone to Costco and they must have got some ghee. Which ghee do we get in Costco? Moksha ghee. So they bought moksha ghee and they poured it on top of Hanuman. And when they poured it on top of Hanuman, then they decided to burn that tail of Hanuman. So as they burned the tail of Hanuman, Hanuman started to get very distressed. He was in a lot of pain and he started jumping here and there. So then at that time the Rakshasis who see Hanuman in this position or in this condition, they speak to Sita. They go to Sita and then they start saying, you know that monkey who came to speak to you? Yeah, look at him. Ravana has burnt his tail. Now he's going to die. Ha 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 ha. They start laughing. So then at that time Sita becomes very much distressed. She says, Hanuman is like my son. She says, how can I let something bad happen to my son? So then at that time she faces in the northern direction. And then she prays to to Agni Dev. And then she says that if my Prativrata Vrata, which is if my chastity towards my husband is pure, and if I have never deviated in my thoughts towards any other man, she says, I would request the fire god to not have his effect on Hanuman. I want you to protect Hanuman instead. So immediately as soon as she prayed, Hanuman felt that the fire on his tail had become very cool. So instead of fire, it became like an AC. And why did it become like an AC? Hanuman was thinking. He's like, up until now was burning, but now it feels like, it's very cool. It has a very cooling effect. So he puts it down to, he says that maybe it's because my father Vayudev and Agni Dev are good friends. Because you see, like if there is forest fire somewhere, and for the forest fire to grow, it needs wind. And if there is wind, it grows very quickly. So in that way, the wind helps the forest fire to consume everything. Because it's described that Agni Deva consumes all of those offerings anyways when there is a forest fire. So he says that maybe because they're both good friends, that is why they're having mercy on me and they're not allowing me to burn. And that's why there's the cooling effect. But then he realizes that even this to happen, even for this to happen, I must have gotten the blessings of Sita. So he understands that this is ultimately from the blessings of Sita. So then he realizes now he's not in any pain, he is not feeling burned or anything. So then at that point he starts to jump on top of the roofs of Lanka. Because he says that I have seen that Lanka is very impenetrable. Like I can't see how the army of Rama will come in. So he says now is my time to go and figure out all the secret exits which may exist in Lanka, all the underground tunnels. I need to find out everything. So with his tail, it's described that he burnt every single house in Lanka. Except for Vibhishana's house, he spared the young, the children, he spared the women, and he spared the elderly. It's described. So even while burning, he obeyed the laws of dharma. He did not just do whatever he wanted like that. And he spared the house of Vibhishana. Now, one thing people wonder is, like Vibhishana met Hanuman for the first time. Where did he meet? At least from what I've described, I've told you that he met for the first time in Ravana's palace. But did he meet before? Like there is a description, they say that when Hanuman was trying to search for Sita, at that time he also spotted Vibhishana's house. And over there he saw Tulsi and he heard the name of Ram, etc. People recite this story also. But actually the story is not there in Ramayana. And that is actually the beauty of Valmiki Ramayana, that this portion is not mentioned there. The fact that Vibhishana was a devotee was not mentioned at all in Ramayana. Why is that? The reason is, we know what will happen now. So Vibhishana will go and take shelter at the feet of Lord Ram. So when Vibhishana goes and seeks shelter at the feet of Lord Ram, Hanuman would have said that actually Vibhishana is a devotee of yours already, so you need to give him protection. So then Lord Ram becomes duty bound to give him protection. But how does Hanuman present Vibhishana to Lord Ram? He says that actually I don't see any problem with his body language. I see that what he says is what he means. Like there's a good match between his words and his facial expressions. So he says, I don't think he's a cheater. That's all he says. He doesn't say that when I was in Lanka at that time Vibhishana protected me and at that time Vibhishana was the only one who fought for me. Vibhishana is already doing your bhakti. He didn't say anything like that. He just said that, yeah, I think that he's a genuine guy because he's not a cunning man. That's all he said. Why did he say that? Because there's a huge reason why he said that. The reason is that if we are proven this, if Rama is presented with the fact that Vibhishana is already a devotee, then there is no question of Rama rejecting him. But Hanuman wanted to show the whole world that Rama will give protection to one who is even a demon. So if we have to show that Vibhishana could have been a demon, you can't present all of his good qualities also. So then in that case, Hanuman did not present any of his good qualities. So that Rama could say, Sakru Deva Prapannaya Tavasmiti Chayachate, which means that even if he is an enemy, if he comes and falls in front of me, then also I will give him protection. If you already say he is a bhakta, then what's the need of Rama saying that if he is an enemy? So it was left open for everyone to interpret. And that is the beauty of Valmiki Ramayana, that why certain incidents are not mentioned, why certain incidents are mentioned. Now this incident, whether Vibhishana used to chant the name of Lord Ram or whether he had Tulsi in his house, we don't know if it's true or not, because it's not there in the Shastras. So people make up this story as well. So essentially, Valmiki Ramayana does not mention that. So then when Hanuman had burnt the whole of Lanka, everyone was so surprised, like this is just a monkey who had come in and he has destroyed the whole of Lanka. So then at that time, Hanuman himself becomes a bit scared. Hanuman becomes scared because he said, I am such a fool. He says that in my anger, I decided to burn the whole of Lanka and I didn't even realize that Sita is housed very much in this Lanka. So then he is praying to Lord Ram and he's saying, oh please, I hope something didn't happen to her. So then at that time it's described that there were the Charanas. Charanas are a group of people who inhabit they are essentially associated with the Gandharvas. They are like celestial musicians. And they were traveling and they were saying, wow, look at this miracle. The whole of Lanka has burned except for the Shimshupa tree where Sita is sitting. So as the Charanas said that, Hanuman got a huge sigh of relief. He said that, okay, well, Sita has survived and nothing has happened to Sita. Another reason why Sita was not burned, which is explained by the Acharyas, is explained through Pranam Mantra, which says, Ullam ye Sindhu, Shalilam Shalilam, Yaha Shokavanim Janak Atmaja. Which means that the fire with which Hanuman burnt the whole of Lanka, where was that fire coming from? Yaha Shokavanim Janakatmaja. That fire was essentially Sita's sorrow manifested in the form of a fire. So how could that fire burn another fire? So that is why it said that that fire was nothing but Sita's anger and Sita's sorrow which burnt the whole of Lanka. So that is the other reason why Sita was not burnt. So and then Hanuman becomes very ecstatic that he has completed his purpose, he's completed his mission, and then he makes a jump back to go towards Bharata Desha. So as he makes the jump, he makes a roaring sound. It sounds like a huge thunderstorm approaching. So as the monkeys on the other side of India, as they're standing, they essentially listen to this sound and they're like, oh wow, I think this is the sound of Hanuman. So then Jambavan hears that sound and he says, yes, that is the sound of Hanuman, and Hanuman has seen Sita. So then the monkeys ask him, they say, well, how do you know Hanuman has seen Sita? So then Jambavan says, to find out, you'll have to come tomorrow. So having said that, we will finish there. If anyone has any questions or anything you would like to share or anything that's not clear, you can ask now. No? All clear? Okay. Vancha kalpataru yasya kripa sindhu bhayavacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Tomorrow program will start at 6:30 because tomorrow is Ram.